Hi builders, today we are going to be remixing an AI chatbot. For this, we'll search for chatbot and remix the AI chatbot using the OpenAI Assistant. Now this template comes with a README. You can read through that to get yourself set up, and I'll walk through the process now too. So this chatbot has built-in conversational history. So as input, this takes in a thread ID. This can be any string identifying the user, and it also takes in a message. The first thing we do is check if a thread ID was passed in. If so, we get that thread ID from our BuildShip database. And that thread ID will be passed in to the OpenAI Assistant so that we have conversational memory. The first thing you have to do is press this little key icon here and add your OpenAI API key. The place to get that is here on platform.openai.com/API keys. Just click create a new secret key. And once you get that value, copy it, hit add key back in BuildShip, and add the value here. We'll use the one I already have set. For the assistant ID, go back to platform.openai.com, click here on Assistants, and create a bot. We'll use the one that I already created. Copy the assistant ID here, and you could paste it in BuildShip. Now this is the base OpenAI Assistant, which is just a chat bot. If you want to add tools, you could add nodes here. So you can have the assistant dynamically call any node whenever it decides that it's necessary as part of the workflow. For this demo, we won't do that, but we'll add that in later videos. Finally, we check for a thread ID and add that to the database. And then the message response and thread ID are output for the flow output. So let's go ahead and test this workflow. So let's come up here, hit test, and we can say that we're interviewing for a technical writer position. For the thread ID, this can be any identifier. We can just have it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And let's test the flow. And we get the response with the thread ID and the message from the OpenAI Assistant. We can check here for collection query. And because we don't have any 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 user yet, we get an empty array. And the OpenAI Assistant with its response. So now let's test one more time. Come up here and click flow. And let's ask, what is the position we're interviewing for? To test if we have the conversational memory working. And we have a technical writer position here. So everything's working well. The next thing to do is set up our triggers. So first we'll set up the REST API call trigger. You can always add any other trigger you want, but for now we'll use the REST API call. To get it set up, all we need to do is hit connect. And the API is configured. It expects as input the same inputs, a thread ID and a message as part of the body. It also generates an API URL that we can use in the app that we're making. So let's go ahead and click ship to deploy this workflow. So now that it's shipped, so now that we've shipped the workflow, we will create a Bolt.new app using our AI assistant. To do that, let's click on usage and copy the JavaScript showing the AI how to call our endpoint. Let's give it some context to what we want to build. So I've told it we want to build an interview prep chatbot, which gets a username from the user and then uses the API below to send a message and thread ID. I also tell it what to expect back. And then we paste the API spec in JavaScript below. And let's click run. And it looks like our app is ready. Let's test it. So my name is Colin. And it actually sends a message for us at the beginning. And I'll say technical writer for BuildShip. So while this is running, I can look back at my BuildShip app. And in Build, we have access to all of our logs. So let's click on that and expand it up to the page. So here's where you can check all of your logs for your workflow. And just to make sure that the memory is working, let's ask. So it looks like it's not using the thread ID appropriately. And we see here as well that the thread ID passed in is null. So let's just tell Bolt. So sometimes this takes some iteration. So let's try again with column 2. Let's say, please. And now I'll ask again. And now we have the conversational memory. And we can check back in our logs. And this time, in the output, we see that the thread ID is column 2. So that's how you get set up using the AI Chatbot with built-in memory template to build an AI assistant on Bolt.new. We're really looking forward to seeing what you build.